Madras or Chennai is the only metropolis in India which has a very peculiar ways of urban lifestyles connecting its past to its present.
Chennai is good. I think Madras was better.
They claim that work culture in Chennai is better than any other metro in India.
The work culture here is excellent.
It is said that Chennai is the best city in India to live in.
Even though I'm not from Chennai traditionally, it is my home. It's a beautiful city.
Most incomers think that Chennai is an accommodative and hospitable place.
I owe a lot to this city and the people here.
Moreover, Chennai is main hub of art and culture in the southern part of India.
Madras is now the capital of Carnatic music.
For many of them, the city of Chennai is not a thorough groomed city.
The way it is now, it is nothing but an overgrown village.
Tamil Nadu constitutes the southeastern extremity of the Indian peninsula. Chennai is the capital city of the state, besides being an important district. The district city is one of the metropolises of India and serves as the gateway to the culture of South India. Modern Chennai has a long history which goes back to 1639 when Ayappa Nayakkar, an influential chieftain under Venkata III, gave the grant of a piece of land lying between the river Koum, almost at the point it enters the sea, and another river known as Egmore to the English. On this piece of wasteland was founded the Fort St. George, exactly for business considerations. While the official centre of the settlement was designated Fort St. George, the British applied the name Madras Pattanam to the combined town. Chennai was captured by the French in 1744, but consequent on the Treaty of Peace of Aix-la-Chapelle, Chennai was restored to the English in 1749. The importance of the fort cannot be undermined till date, as it still serves as an important base for the Indian Army. The flag mast in the fort, which was constructed by the British, still stands withstanding the ravages of nature. This is said to be the tallest flag mast in the country. St. Mary's Church, located at Fort St. George, is the oldest Anglican church east of Suez and also the oldest British building in India. The church is popularly known as the Westminster Abbey of the East. The architect of the church was either Edward Fowle, Master Gunner of Fort St. George, or William Dixon, Chief Gunner of the fort in 1678. The building consists of a nave and two aisles, with the nave protruding about 12 feet further than the aisles, thus forming the sanctuary. The church was rendered the only bomb-proof building at the time. This extension was carried out in 1884 to house the choir. Later, various changes and additions were made to the site, including the sanctuary, steeple, tower and the vestry. St. Mary's Church has the church top, which was added in 1795. This ancient prayer house solemnized the marriages of both Robert Clive and Governor Elihu Yale, who assisted in the foundation of Yale University in the United States of America. There is an impressive interior of the church decked with a wooden work and glass arches. This church perhaps has most articulated evidence about social life of early St. George Fort. One of the most striking buildings here is the Fort St. George Museum. It houses the relics of the British personnel who inhabited this fort. The construction of the building was completed in 1795 and served as the Madras Bank. The Fort Museum showcases a host of artifacts such as medals, paintings, letters, etc. belonging to the colonial period. There's a 14.5 feet tall statue of Lord Cornwallis in front of the museum, which is an art masterpiece. It was brought to India from Britain through a ship. To the north of Fort St. George is the George Town, a bustling commercial area of modern-day Chennai. George Town has a history going back to the early years of Fort St. George. Earlier, it was called Black Town. Initially, it was essentially a settlement of dyers and weavers and called also Chennapattanam by the native settlers. Over an area of 850 acres, which comprised of Black Town, had shrines of all faiths reflecting the religious harmony of the settlement. Armenians are believed to have established first trade links with India during the 16th century. The Armenian merchants for the same purpose landed in the city, now famous as Chennai, and settled there. The Armenian families soon began building houses, and it is during the same era that a church was constructed that continues to occupy the ground till date in Chennai. The church is also famous as the Armenian Church of Virgin Mary. The Armenian Church is one of the oldest churches existing in India. The church was built in 1771. It is one of the credited monuments in the state of Tamil Nadu. In 1820, Sir Thomas Munro, Anglo-Indian soldier and statesman, was appointed governor of Madras, where he founded systems of revenue assessment and general administration which substantially persisted into the 20th century. He is regarded as the father of the Rayatwari system. More than anything else, the British legacy in Chennai is visible in the magnificent architectural style developed by British architects in India. Cherished by residents and admired by tourists, the stately Indo-Saracenic buildings that dot the skyline form a much-loved aspect of Chennai and intrinsic to the city. The beauty of Chennai is that these buildings are at the heart of city life, not musty monuments of the past. One of the most impressive examples of Indo-Saracenic architecture is the magnificent sandstone building that houses the headquarters of the Southern Railway on Punamalli High Road, one of the city's main arteries. Chennai Central serves as a symbolic landmark for people in South India, as they served as the main gateway for all people who travelled to South India during British times. Madras Central was built in 1873 at Park Town as a second terminus to decongest the Royapuram harbour station, which was being utilised for port movements. Built in the Gothic revival style, the original station was designed by George Harding and consisted of just 4 platforms. The station was later modified with the addition of the central clock tower and other changes by Robert Fellows Chisholm. Chennai Egmore acts as the arrival and departure point for trains connecting Chennai and southern central Tamil Nadu and Kerala. This is one of the 2 main railway terminals in the city, along with Chennai Central, which serves the north and westbound trains from the city. The Chennai Beach Tambaram suburban railway line also passes through the station. The building of the railway station with decorative domes is one of the prominent landmarks of Chennai. The 14-station, 15.5-kilometer Chennai Mass Rapid Transport System or flying train was opened in 1998. An additional 4.5 kilometers were opened in 2004. The elevated railway looks more like a commuter train, but it is indeed a true metro. Each MRTS station is designed by a different architect and is built to accommodate a full-length EMU rake, possibly consisting of 9 cars. But currently, only 6-car rakes are run on the line, as the traffic on the MRTS line is considerably less than the 3 suburban lines. Most of Chennai's intra-city transport requirements are met by an extensive public transport system. The bus service, which is run by the government-owned Metropolitan Transport Corporation, covers the city and its suburbs. Bus services are generally considered efficient, but buses on some routes can get very crowded at times. The bus service, which plies about 3,084 buses on 626 routes, moves an estimated 4.03 million passengers each day. The Chennai Mufassil Bus Terminus or CMBT is a bus terminus in Chennai catering to outstation buses. The CMBT was planned and built by the Chennai Metropolitan Development Authority at a cost of Rs 103 crores. It can simultaneously station 270 buses and handle over 2,000 buses and 2 lakh passengers a day. The 36.5-acre bus terminus has an 18,000 square feet waiting facility for passengers, a parking space for auto rickshaws, cabs and private cars, and parking space for two-wheelers. The Ripon building, Chennai, is one of the most elegant buildings in the city and reminds tourists of the colonial past of India. The office of Madras Corporation or the Chennai Corporation, this structure was built in 1913. The Ripon building is one of the most elegant examples of British architecture and has still preserved its vintage look. The building also has been a witness to a number of historical events of the past. The foundation stone of this building was laid in the year 1909. It covers an area of 9,628 square meters, which was built at an approximate cost of around 8 lakhs. The Vivekananda Illam, built more than 150 years ago, was popularly known as the Ice House. This was the very place where ice was stored in those days. In 1833, it was Frederick Tudor, an ice merchant of Boston, USA, who brought ice to India in a ship named Clipper Tusoni. That was the first time ice was brought into India from abroad. Tudor, the Ice King, built 3 houses, one each in Bombay, Calcutta and Madras, to keep ice under proper insulation. The building in Madras still stands, but the others have evaporated into thin air. Swami Vivekananda returned to India via Madras after a triumphant tour of the West in February 1897. He was taken from the station to the Ice House in a grand procession. He stayed there from February 6th to 15th and delivered 7 electrifying speeches. Abutting the Bay of Bengal, Chennai has one of the loveliest beaches. The 4.5-kilometer long beach is the second longest beach in the world. A stroll along the marina, whether in the morning or evening, refreshes one. The old Saracenic buildings dotting the other side of Kamaraja Salai, a main road along the marina, would bring back memories of good old British Raj. This is a memorial for Dr. M.G. Ramachandran, the former Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu and also a former film hero. The tomb has an imposing memorial pillar and an eternal flame. An array of souvenir shops and eateries can be found along this stretch of the beach, attracting tourists from the rest of the state. Particularly interesting is the Sunday market with its curious jumble of goods. Valluvar Kottam is a grand auditorium inaugurated in 1976, and it is devoted to the poet Saint Thiruvalluvar. The grandeur of the monument lies in the fact that it stands on the deserted lake which was filled up with the garbage and waste of the city. The poet had written an epic known as the Tirukural. All the 1330 verses of the poet's epic are depicted on the granite pillars which surround the auditorium. You will be amazed by the structure of the auditorium because this massive monument stands without any pillar and it provides a seating arrangement for 4,000 people. There is also a huge temple chariot with a lively image of the poet. Also, you can have a faded glimpse of the 133 chapters of the Tirukural, which are inscribed on the base of the chariot. It took more than 3,000 blocks of stone to create this grand monument. The Kapileshwara temple is situated in Kacheri Road, Mylapore. The Kapileshwara temple is an emblem of Dravidian style and architecture. The notable feature of this structure is the 37-meter tall Gopuram, that is the pyramidal shaped temple top, trying to touch the ultimate cool blue sky surface which is spread all over the universe. As one enters the temple, one can view a sculpture which has an interesting story behind it. It is believed that a saint known as Gyan Sambandar sung and brought a dead girl back to life. The tank situated in front of Kapalishwara temple is the water body where devotees feed thousands catfishes. It is very interesting to view the fishes fighting among themselves over food. Recently, a lot of fishes died unnaturally in this pond. The name of Thousand Lights Mosque is enough to make the outside visitors curious. And this curiosity is sure to compel you to have a glimpse of the widely known mosque. The Thousand Light Mosque is situated at the meeting point of Mount Road and Peters Road. St. Andrew's Church, more popularly referred to as Kirk, is situated across the Gandhi Urban Road, Egmore, Chennai. The church has a 200-year-old history behind it. It is one of the oldest living churches in the world. Christ the King Church is located in the middle of Loyola College campus, Chennai. The church is a fine example of Gothic architecture. Its pointed arches, ribbed vaults, rose windows, three-aisled nave, and the flying buttresses reflect the Gothic style. The Church of Loyola was inaugurated on March 6, 1931 by the then Archbishop of Madras. The architect of the 70-year-old church was S.A. Gyanaprakashan Pillai. For nearly 2 decades now, some part of the roof of the church has been chipping off, making renovation imperative. There is a spire which has a stairway leading to the cross standing on the top. According to legend, Saint Thomas was one of the first Christians to reach India and to preach Christianity. He is believed to have reached South India in AD 52 and spent the last years of his life in a cave on this hill. Tradition states that Thomas was assassinated by an arrow in AD 72 by persons hostile to him. Thus, the hillock acquired the name St. Thomas Mount. St. Thomas Mount is associated with St. Thomas, the Apostle of Christ, who is believed to have been martyred here. The mount is commonly called in Tamil Parangi Malai. History says 2000 years back, a Saint Parangi lived here. Over time, Anglo-Indians predominated in this area. A small relic-filled church built in 1523 by the Portuguese stands at the summit of the 300-foot-high St. Thomas Mount. The place was visited by Pope John Paul II during his visit to India on 5th February 1986. Located at the end of Kacheri Road in Mylapore, at the southern end of the marina, you can find the Santom Basilica Cathedral. It was built in memory of St. Thomas, the Apostle of Christ, who was interned in Chennai, where the old church was rebuilt as a cathedral in 1890. Santom, a Tamil mutation of St. Thomas, was a Portuguese settlement since they first arrived on the Mylapore shores in the 16th century. In 1896, it was made into a basilica. The Santom Basilica Cathedral is built over the tomb of St. Thomas. The statue of Virgin Mary enshrined within the Santom Basilica Cathedral, is believed to have come from Portugal. In the whole world, there are only 3 churches built over the tomb of an apostle of Jesus Christ. The Basilica of St. Peter, built over the tomb of St. Peter in Rome, Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela, built over the tomb of St. James, and Basilica of the National Shrine of St. Thomas, built over the tomb of St. Thomas. Basilica of the National Shrine of St. Thomas is in Chennai. The tomb chapel is below the basilica and museum cum theatre. The new underground chapel, with a separate access outside the church structure, allows pilgrims to pray at the tomb and tourists to visit it without disturbing the sacred functions in the church. The museum exhibits artifacts connected with St. Thomas and the basilica, and the theatre is used for screening a short video on the life of the apostle. The first ever demand for higher education in Madras Presidency was voiced forth in a public address to the Right Honourable Lord John Elephantine, Governor of Madras, signed by 70,000 native inhabitants, when the Governor in Council was contemplating some effective and liberal measures for the establishment of an improved system of national education. Consequently, the University of Madras came into being, along with 2 other major universities, one in Calcutta and other in Bombay in 1857. The University of Madras, organized on the model of the University of London, was incorporated on 5th September 1857 by an Act of the Legislative Council of India. The university is situated in the southern city of Chennai. It has 4 campuses in the city: Chepauk, Marina, Guindy and Taramani. More than 50 departments offer a range of specialization subjects. Senate House is a historical place. The Senate House is situated on the Chennai University campus near Marina. The Senate House was built under the direction of the skilled architect of 19th century, Robert Fellows Chisholm. The structure of the building is a live example of the Indo-Saracenic style with a harmonious blend of Byzantine architectural features. The Senate House in Chennai comprises of a central hall with corridors which is on the ground floor. These corridors stand on 6 firm pillars standing on either side. The Senate House has seen for over 125 years many meetings, functions and also convocations. The convocations were held in the central hall under the bright illuminated lamps and the pedestal fan standing everywhere after every inch. These convocations were held in the central hall of the Senate House till 1965 and later on shifted to Centenary Convocation Auditorium. The Madras University Library was formally set up in 1907. Besides the 3,000 users who are students, research scholars or employees of the university, there are currently nearly 33,000 registered members from the public. The membership fee is a one-time payment of Rs 1,000. Over the last few years, there has been a 30 to 40% increase in the number of new members. Madras University Library is also the workplace of S.R. Ranganathan, famous library scientist who contributed towards the development of the first major analytico-synthetic classification system, the Cologne classification. The name Loyola comes from the ancestral castle that was the family home where Saint Ignatius was born in 1491, the last of a large Basque family of Spain. Saint Ignatius gathered around him like-minded and motivated people, and he came to India to found the Society of Jesus in 1540. Loyola College was founded by the Society of Jesus, or Jesuits, in 1925, with the primary objective of providing university education in a Christian atmosphere for deserving students, especially those belonging to the Catholic community. Although this college is meant primarily for Catholics, it admits other students irrespective of caste and creed. The college aims at training young men and women of quality to be leaders in all walks of life, who we hope will play a vital role in bringing about the desired changes for the betterment of the people of our country, more particularly of the Dalits and other poorer and marginalized sections of society. The Triumph of Labour statue, sculpted by Devi Prasad Roy Chaudhary, was installed in 1950 at Marina. When India became a republic, the statue of Mahatma Gandhi at Marina is also his creation. Government College of Arts and Crafts is one of the oldest art institutions in Tamil Nadu, situated at Punnamalli High Road, Chennai. Started in 1850 as a training center for arts, it is the first school of industrial arts in Chennai. The importance for fine art education gained momentum when Devi Prasad Roy Chaudhary took over as the first Indian principal in 1929. Because of him, many youngsters from Bengal like Gopal Ghosh, Sushil Mukherjee, Paritosh Sen and so on came to the school. Many youngsters from around South India too came here to learn arts and crafts in Chennai. Affiliated to University of Madras, the Government College of Arts and Crafts offers degree and post-graduation courses. The courses are offered in painting, sculpture, commercial art, ceramics and textile design. The ancillary subject is printmaking or photography.
And then I came for study here, and that time one of the finest people like DEEPAK Roy Chaudhary, Harindra Chattopadhyay, and a lot of wonderful people I met during that, even Rajmanar, the Chief Justice at that time. And I felt it a very, very distinct difference between, cultural difference between North and the South.
About 9 kilometers from Chennai, nestling amidst a casuarina grove and within a stone's throw from the emerald blue waters of the Bay of Bengal, lies an entire village, Cholamandal. Surrounded by an old, decrepit and sparsely populated village in Jambakkam, it is today the hub of 30 painters and sculptors who have formed the village and run the Artists Handicrafts Association on well-oiled wheels. 32 years before, this idyllic locale was no man's land, uninhabited with a stretch of land and luscious casuarina plantations dotting the landscape. The principal of the institution at that time was the late K.C.S. Panikar. He had already started his search for an art, as he described it, India in spirit and worldwide contemporary. He now came forward with a concrete idea, the concept of living as a community. Mutual help was to be the cornerstone of success in this venture. In many ways, the Chennai art scene that accommodates paintings and sculpture with cartoons, photography, video installation and experimental medium has coalesced in the past few years, and both young artists and established ones are taking advantage of the opportunities available to them. The younger generation, more attuned to the possibilities within a globalizing art scene, is experimenting with ideas, mediums and expression, while the older, equally daring, look to seniority and reputation to spread their web.
So our idea was to live on 100 rupees per month. So we used to walk to the beach, help the fishermen to drag their net. We used to get free fish. We go to the village, they give us vegetable, rice and all that. So we could live happily with 100 rupees a month. So we called then we used to do some 1 or 2 hours some craft, and rest of the hours we used to do our creativity. We used to do paintings, sculptures, and slowly this place was known. We used to exhibit together in cities like Bombay, Delhi, and it was known. It took us really 15 years to establish ourselves.
Founded in 1936 by Rukmini Devi Arundale, Kalakshetra or Temple of Art is an institution that is devoted to classical dance, music and traditional textile designs and weaving.
Kalakshetra was founded in 1936 by Srimati Rukmini Devi Arundale, her husband Dr. Arundale, and several other well-wishers and intellectuals of the time. They were all theosophists. They were followers of Dr. Annie Besant, and they believed that culture was another route to spiritualism. Education was part of that movement. As you know, they were part of the nationalist struggle, and they believed that educating India in its traditions was far more realistic than following British patterns of education, which had become already the most coveted thing. All our elite were studying in schools abroad, and we were creating public schools in India that were not of our culture, had no reflection on our traditions.
She started the Kalakshetra Institution as a cultural academy to preserve traditional dance forms that were falling to disrepute. She attempted to integrate different dance forms and variants. Rukmini Devi Arundale was determined to revive Indian dance forms that were not considered respectable at that time. With a huge banyan tree in the center of the Kalakshetra campus, the classes are held in cottages and in the open sometimes. A reverence for the arts is inculcated in the students at Kalakshetra. Situated on a 100-acre plot in Thiruvanmiyur in South Chennai, Kalakshetra has students from around the world who are trained in the ancient Gurukul system. Over the years, Kalakshetra has come to be associated with the cultivation and promotion of the ancient culture traditions of India. The theatre within the Kalakshetra is built according to the Natya Shastra. The institute conducts research into works of several renowned Sanskrit scholars to stage dance productions not only for an Indian audience but also for major world theatres.
Madras is now the capital of Carnatic music. In fact, you must have heard about Tanjore, which is about 300 kilometers from this place, from Madras, which was the birthplace of musical trinity. And they composed, there was a Maharaja, ironically is a Maharashtrian Maharaja, a Maratha king who encouraged arts. And after some time, it was all patronized by zamindars, kings. But after some time, all these people migrated to Madras. So Madras became the haven of great artists for the past, say, 30 years. So Carnatic music exists mostly in Madras.
There is a larger-than-life film culture existing in Chennai. The film music of Tamil Nadu is widely known for its innovation and eclecticism. Scores may showcase blends of Carnatic, Western and other instruments, music systems with a range of melodic and rhythmic patterns. Orchestral themes and minimalist songs often feature. Recent trends show the prevalence of synthesizers and other electronic instruments.
There is not much classical music per se in Carnatic music, but there have been a lot of experiments. People like Ilayaraja and Rahman, they do all kinds of fusion experiments in films. Sometimes they take a raga and then they blend it with other things, and so you don't recognize the raga after some time. So yeah, you are right about film music not having much classical music. That is true.
The Theosophical Society was founded in 1875 in the USA and has its world headquarters in Madras. Founded by Madame Blavatsky and Colonel Olot, the Theosophical Society received considerable impetus and support from Annie Besant. Set in an idyllic location on the banks of the Adyar River, the Theosophical Society is a center for discourses, and comparative study of various religions and philosophies. Annie Wood Besant was a prominent theosophist. She became the president of the Theosophical Society after Madame Blavatsky had passed away. In 1916, Annie launched the Home Rule League, once again modeling demands for India on Irish models. For the first time, India had a political party to fight for change. Unlike the Congress itself, the League worked all year round. It built a strong structure of local branches, establishing it to mobilize demonstrations, public meetings and agitations. The grounds are famous for the largest banyan tree in the world, the Adyar Alamaram, with a span of 40,000 square feet. You can find a Hindu temple, church and Buddhist temple within the premises of the Theosophical Society. Situated on the Marina Beach Road in the area, which housed the coastal belfry and was formerly called Cupid's Bow, the Victory War Memorial honors those who have laid down their lives for their country in the world wars. It was constructed to commemorate the victory of the Allied armies during World War I and later became the Victory War Memorial for the World War II, in the memory of those from Chennai Presidency who lost their lives serving the nation. Government Museum, Chennai is a multi-purpose state government museum located in Egmore, which is the heart of the city, spreading to an area of 16.25 acres of land. 6 independent buildings in this museum campus have 46 galleries. Established in 1857, Government Museum is one of the best museums of India. Government Museum originally belonged to the Pantheon Committee that comprised of a group of British citizens that were in charge of improving the social life of the British living in Chennai at that time. Mahabalipuram was a thriving seaport since the days of Periplus and Ptolemy. The foundation for several of the cave temples was actually laid by Mamala's father, King Mahendravarman, although Mamala built the majority of the monuments, including Arjuna's penance and the Govardhanadhari cave temple. Mamala is credited with starting a new form of architecture consisting of freestanding monolithic structures. Pancharathas, or 5 chariots, are an example of monolith Indian rock-cut architecture dating from the late 7th century, located at Mamalapuram. The Pancharatha shrines were carved during the reign of King Mahendravarman I and his son Narasimhavarman I. Each temple is a monolith carved whole from a rock outcropping of pink granite. The 5 monolithic pyramidal structured shrines are named after the Pandavas Arjun, Bhima, Yudhishthira, Nakul and Sahadev, and Draupadi. As noted, each shrine is not assembled from cut rock but carved from one single large piece of stone. It is likely their original design traces back to wood constructions. Situated at 58 kilometers from Chennai, Mahabalipuram has kept alive and to a great extent revived the ancient art of stonemasons and sculptures, including deities for temples and other forms for restoration works. These images and statues are available at several handicraft emporia scattered around the city. Of the many rock-cut cave temples or mandapas in Mahabalipuram, the grandest are the Mahishamardini and Adivaraha mandapas. The Mahishamardini temple has been excavated on the eastern side of the hilltop and has 3 shrines. On its northern and southern walls are great sculptural reliefs of Goddess Durga fighting a demon and one of Lord Vishnu in his cosmic sleep. They are 2 great images reflecting contrasting energies, one attacking, the other retreating. Both these are the best reliefs known to Indian art. The Adi Varaha temple also has 2 royal sculptures facing each other. In one, a king is situated with his queens. In another, a king is standing beside his consorts. Both are identified with 2 Pallava kings, Simha Vishnu and Mahendra Varman. The temples of Mahabalipuram depict distinct Pallav art. Great architectures and rock carvings of the temples have withstood the tests of time and represent the great architectural splendor of the temples and monuments in South India. The Dravidian architecture also has some Buddhist elements in it. These bas-reliefs are among the largest in the world. Completely covering 2 huge boulders 27 meters long and 9 meters high, the reliefs depict the flow of the Ganges down from the Himalaya mountains as described in the Panchatantra. The story is a flood myth like the tale of Noah but differs in its cast of characters. Legend says that King Bhagirath brought down the Ganges from heaven to purify the souls of his ancestors. His plan went awry when he realized that the flood would inundate the earth, so he had to undergo a penance to convince Shiva to intervene, who came down to earth and let the flood trickle through his hair, dispersing the waters safely in innumerable streams all over the world. This strange sight aroused the curiosity of the world's animals, who gathered around the soaking god. The Shore Temple is a 5-storied structural Hindu temple rather than rock-cut as are the other monuments at the site. It is the earliest important structural temple in southern India. Its pyramidal structure is 60 feet high and it sits on a 50 feet square platform. There is a small temple in front which was the original porch. It is made out of finely cut local granite. The Shore Temple is also one of the most popular temples. The internationally acclaimed and globally renowned Mammalapuram Dance Festival is organized by the Department of Tourism, Government of Tamil Nadu, every year in Mammalapuram, the renowned and ancient 7th century center for Pallava culture and arts. The dance festival starts on the 25th of December every year and is conducted on all Saturdays and government holidays up to February 1st week. Dancers and musicians of repute from India and abroad thrill the crowds every year. Mahakavi Subramanya Bharati was born on 11th December 1882. He died on 11th September 1921. In a relatively short lifespan of 39 years, Bharati left an indelible mark as the poet of Tamil nationalism and Indian freedom. Rajaji Hall used to be a banquet hall of the British. It was built to commemorate the victory of British over Tipu Sultan. The beautiful flight of steps of soaring heights there takes you to the spacious hall of this building, and it will make you breathless with its beauty and immensity. And it has been renamed as Rajaji Hall after Rajagopalachari, the first Governor General of India. It is disturbing to know that the land this luxury hotel stands on was the residence of Chakrabarti Rajagopalachari, where Mahatma Gandhi and Rajaji met for the first time. A very ordinary memorial is erected at the pavement in front of the hotel to remind people about that historic event. Despite the size, wealth, historical contribution and contemporary importance of Chennai, its colonial history remains relatively unexplored. There are few substantial works on Chennai's social, economic and political history in the British period. Chennai played a vital role in the Indian freedom movement. Many leaders have shed their life for the cause of India's freedom. Chennai took a leading role throughout the years of India's freedom movement from early 20th century. The present state of Tamil Nadu was the residuary part of the erstwhile Madras Presidency. The Madras Legislative Council was set up in 1921 under the Government of India Act 1919. The term of the council was 3 years. It consisted of 132 members, of which 34 were nominated by the governor and the rest were elected. The first Legislative Assembly of the present Tamil Nadu state was constituted in March 1952. The state of Madras was renamed as Tamil Nadu in 1969. The Government of India Act 1935 provided for a bicameral legislature in the province of Madras, with the Legislative Assembly consisting of 215 members and a Legislative Council having 56 members. At present, the state legislature is unicameral with Legislative Assembly consisting of 235 members, including one nominated member. One fact that could be singularly common in all the capital cities in India is the pathetic plight of poor living in these cities. Nowhere is the rise in inequality more apparent than in large metro areas such as Chennai, where abject slums coexist with world-class opulence. A little more than one-fourth of the Chennai population lives in slums. Slums in Chennai are greatly disadvantaged as far as quality of housing and availability of basic amenities like drinking water, electricity, latrines, drainage, non-polluting fuels and the like. The city suffers from inadequate infrastructure provision, which has not kept up with the rapid urban growth. The pattern of inadequate provision is reflected in the slums in the city, where inadequate basic amenities result in poor living environments. %30% of the households in slums do not have any drainage facility. Of the rest, 14% have open drainage facilities. Waterborne diseases are highly prevalent among these families, and carriers like mosquitoes could bring more ones like malaria into the lives of any of these 1 lakh plus dwellers. The Coimbatore Wholesale Market Complex, the point of conglomeration from where vegetables, fruits and flowers are distributed for retail sale in Chennai, receives 500 trucks carrying 10 tons of farm produce every day and serves over 1 lakh customers with a daily turnover of Rs 1.25 crores. There is a big road fish market situated at the south of Marina Beach, which caters to middle-class fish eaters in the city. Most of the fishes are sold here directly by the women of fishermen community. People from far places in Chennai flock at the beach to buy sea fish at cheaper rates. Small portions of fish, which is supplied to local market and sold to fish eaters, are found here. The beach market is perhaps a heaven for those who like to eat sea fish at reasonable rates. One is sure that middle-class buyers depend on such markets in all urban areas in India. Though food prices have risen during recent years, it is still cheaper in Chennai than in any other metro in India. The perennial water crisis in Chennai brings a few issues into focus. One of them is the alarming drop in groundwater levels. The groundwater tables of well fields that have been providing Chennai with the elixir of life have plumbed unprecedented lows. The facts speak eloquently for themselves. Pundi, which had registered a groundwater level of 27 feet in January 1999, plumbed 59 feet in January 2003. Similarly, Thamaraipakam, at 20 feet in January 1999, hit 68 feet in January this year. Kannagipper, Panjetti and Minjur had similar stories to tell. As the city is thirsting for water, Metro Water hikes the water tariff, acting in compliance with a suggestion by the World Bank. The open drains have posed a big health problem for the residents living in different parts of Chennai, as the drains are silted and covered with weeds owing to poor maintenance. Several residential and commercial establishments have encroached the drain. Concrete slabs are laid on it to provide approach roads to the residential areas. The Buckingham Canal is a saltwater navigation canal running parallel to the Coromandel coast of South India for 420 kilometers. Within the city of Chennai, the Buckingham Canal is badly polluted from sewage and industrial effluent, and the silting up of the canal has left the water stagnant. It is one problem in Chennai that cannot be swept under the carpet. Thousands of residents in the city have to live with piles of garbage accumulated on streets. Without a proper and efficient garbage disposal system, the health and hygiene situation in the city is getting worse day by day. The garbage problem has thrown a serious challenge to the civil authorities in Chennai. The Government General Hospital was started in 1664 as a small hospital to treat the sick soldiers of the British East India Company. It was the untiring, inspiring efforts of Sir Edward Winter, who was the agent of the company, that materialized in the first British hospital at Madras. The hospital has a reputation of being one of the best in the state and probably ranks among the top 10 in the Indian subcontinent. The Apollo Hospitals Group initiated 5-star healthcare systems in India. Apollo Hospitals started as a 150-bed hospital in Chennai in 1983, and it has to be said amidst much skepticism. India in the early 80s was not the easiest place for private enterprise. Moreover, private healthcare institutions were unknown and they were not doing cutting-edge work. 25 years later, it is an amazing story of success, achievement, and most importantly, dreams realized. The Apollo Hospitals Group today includes over 7,500 beds across 43 hospitals in India and overseas, neighborhood diagnostic clinics, an extensive chain of Apollo pharmacies, medical BPO and health insurance services, and clinical research divisions that are working on the cutting edge of medical science. While the number of vehicles and flow of traffic in this stretch has increased phenomenally, roadside parking of auto rickshaws, especially in front of hotels and shopping malls, is compounding the problem. Unless this issue is addressed, the problem will continue. Chennai roads add 600 vehicles every day.
Today, Chennai has become very busy. It's a metropolis. It's become, the roads are, as you can see, chock-a-block with traffic. There's a lot more activity going on. It's not as laid back as it used to be, but it's still, I think for me, the best city in the country.
Only 206 people died in Chennai from the tsunami, but the devastation the waves wreaked on property, fishing craft, and the livelihood system of fisher folk was enormous for the fragile coastal villages of Chennai, with damage estimates ranging from $17 million to $45 million. Officially, 25 villages and 65,322 people in Chennai district have been classified as affected, and the number of damaged huts is put at 17,805. Almost 1/4 of the district's total dwellings.
Very, very important beachfront in Chennai called the Elliott's Beach. It's an old beach. It's a lovely small stretch of beach, very pretty. Lovely sunrises happen here. and a large number of people come in the morning for their morning walks and exercises and all that sort of thing. Very popular. Evenings, a lot of people come out from the city, from the heat of the city, to enjoy the fresh sea breeze here. For the last 20 years at least, the city of Chennai has been appealing to all sorts of international agencies for help to, within quotation, beautify the beach. So that's a new concept again. The beach is beautiful. Now, how do you beautify the beach? Roughly about 12 years ago, a major grant came from the World Bank to create pavements and higher parapet walls and mercury lamps and all that along this beach. Certain kind of pavements and roads happened. Just earlier this year, hardly a few months ago, again a 24 crore grant has been given to beautify this beach. But in terms of conveniences, say for people who have difficulty in walking, for example, or people who might need to use wheelchairs, there's no thought about how to create conveniences for people like that. For the entire stretch of the beach, where every evening nothing less than 15,000 people come, there is only one set of urinals right at the end of the road. In some sense, Chennai is still located in the region. It's still the capital of Tamil Nadu, and it's still the home for maximum Tamil-speaking people. And that metropolitan exchange of cultures, or certain cultures dominating, and therefore creating certain new tensions, like in Bombay, etc., hasn't really happened here. So it's very located, for example, in its Tamil language.
The Roja Muthaiya Research Library, founded in 1994, exists to provide research materials and facilities for students of Tamil studies in a variety of fields spanning humanities, social sciences and sciences. The library's main objectives are to preserve, catalogue and expand the collection of Roja Muthaiya, who during his lifetime amassed one of the world's finest private libraries of Tamil publications. The library's notable strengths are its holdings in classical and modern literature, literary criticism, medicine, cinema, and the related culture of printed works such as songbooks, folklore, material by and about women, religion and philosophy, and numerous publications of historical value. Power and the durability of poverty is a critical exploration of the links between culture, marginality, and chronic poverty. The condition of the cheek makers of Chennai is an apt example of the working situations of the unorganized sector in Tamil Nadu. The Tamil Nadu Handloom Weavers Cooperative Society, popularly called as Co-optex, established in 1935, has a long and rich tradition in handlooms, a history that dates back over 72 years, even before Indian independence. The multi-hued butterfly symbol is today synonymous with quality, durability, and beauty. Behind the timelessness of the tradition kept alive for so many decades is the handloom weaver. He is the backbone of this large network of 4.13 lakhs of handlooms in Tamil Nadu, in which 2.19 lakhs handlooms are in cooperative fold, 206 showrooms, and of rupees 385 crores turnover. That is Co-optex. Today, Co-optex is the #1 apex handloom cooperative society in the country because of its talented, dedicated and devoted clan of handloom weavers from all over Tamil Nadu. conceived as a charitable trust, essentially to extend a helping hand to the unknown genius lost in the villages, the Victoria Technical Institute came into being as an organization in October 1887. The following is a chronicle account of service. On the occasion of the Jubilee of Her Majesty, the Queen Empress Victoria in 1887, a Central Jubilee Committee was formed in the city of Madras, and collections were made to commemorate the 50 years of her reign. With the resources generated out of the envisaged development, crafts training centers will be promoted in the rural centers for the continuous ongoing process of unearthing talents lying latent. VTI believes that avenues of self-employment and opportunities for supplemental incomes are potentially so enormous for improving the quality of life in villages through the training centers. The human resource development aspirations of the government will find in this activity an immediate opportunity to usher in qualitative changes in the life of rural artisans. Central Leather Research Institute was set up by the central government to give the research impetus to leather industry in India after independence. The world's largest leather research institute was founded on 24th April 1948. CLRI made an initiative with foresight to link technology system with both academy and industry. CLRI today is a central hub in Indian leather sector with direct roles in education, research, training, testing, designing, forecasting, planning, social empowerment, and leading in science and technology relating to leather. State-of-the-art facilities in CLRI support innovation in leather processing, creative designing of leather products, namely leather garment, leather goods, footwear, and development of novel environmental technologies for leather sector. World's largest leather research institute was founded on 24th April 1948. CLRI made an initiative with foresight to link technology system with both academy and industry. CLRI has been one of the premier R&D organizations with strong foundation in both basic and applied research in leather and allied sciences. The major departments engaged in the fundamental research area include biotechnology, biomaterials, bacteriology, bioproducts, polymer science and technology, chemistry, biophysics, environmental and chemical engineering, NMR, etc. At any given point of time, about 30 to 40 research students are working for PhD under Madras or Anna universities. During 1999 to 2000, 177 papers were published in international and national scientific journals. A number of awards and honors were bestowed on CLRI scientists. As a result of sustained R&D activities, the institute has developed a number of technologies and successfully transferred to the industry. pavement shopping is part of the great excitement of Tyagaraja Nagar, popularly known as T Nagar. Everything from safety pins to shower curtains is available on the sidewalks except space to walk. Shoppers weave in and out of the traffic, making driving in T Nagar a nightmare and finding parking space an even bigger one. The popularity of T Nagar has lasted longer than other areas where people used to shop. T Nagar started getting popular as a shopping destination after 1950 and has remained so until today. Ambattur is a major municipality in Tiruvallur district in the state of Tamil Nadu, India. It is an industrial area northwest of Chennai, though considered a part of Chennai for all practical purposes. The AIE or Ambattur Industrial Estate, spread over an area of 4.9 square kilometers, is the biggest small-scale industrial estate in South Asia. A fast-growing segment of Indian industry is information technology. In addition to IT parks promoted by the government, a large number of private buildings has come up in various parts of Chennai and many are also under construction. The Tamil Nadu government focused the attention of IT industry for the economic growth, formulated and adopted an exclusive IT policy way back in 1997.
A many-tiered splendor, a splendorous city nevertheless. And Chennai, I think, is on the growth track, on a tremendous trajectory of growth track. I don't think it makes too much of a hype about it. It doesn't make a song and dance about it like some of our neighbors do. But I think the city is quietly, confidently, self-assuredly moving into an exciting new future.
Chennai is growing silently in tandem with its conservative past. But we have to wait and see what this growth ultimately delivers to the next generation of Chennai.